But yeah, pretty much okay, cool. If we could just kind of like do like a weekly check and kind of see where everybody's at on like their EP, and kind of like if there's any support or anything that we can all kind of like help or collaborate or whatever the case is, kind of like an open floor. So let's pretty much, since Steven, since we're kind of working together on this, you know, we could talk a little bit about like where we are with the Hoove recruiter.
Okay. Do you want me to take that right now?
Yeah,
Because
please.
it's, I would say, a lot of. So I'm honestly surprised by the level of interest from the team, which is a really good thing. I didn't really think I had like such a revolutionary idea, but maybe it seems to be seen as pretty important. Um, Lots right now are just kind of brewing ideas, and also I have a ton of client projects I need to keep up with. But so far, floating the idea of having people act as like talent agents, like down the road, trying to place people with projects, um, and just a lot of ideas. So I just have to get an MVP kind of going, and we'll be able to take it from there.
Absolutely. And then we still, from my lack, do we still need to sign? We still got to sign that agreement, right?
Yeah, yeah, we have to do that.
Okay, I'm putting it right here. So we'll figure that out this week.
And that
Need to
may
sign.
that may depend a little bit on me because Steven and I were supposed to meet, and we're going to meet immediately after this. But
Yeah,
Okay,
just
just to
cool.
talk about it a little further, so it may change a little bit just based on what he and I talk about.
Okay, yeah, no, that's all good. We're just keeping things moving along. So, all right, cool, cool, cool. And if do you have anything else to add to that, Steven?
Um, no, that's pretty much it. But Matt, I don't see why if Jeremy wants to talk about some stuff, he could just stay on with us, right? I don't.
Yeah, no, I could too. I honestly could just be a sponge for that.
Yeah, go for it.
Awesome. All right, cool, cool, cool. All right, so Matt, since you're already on, you want to talk about yours?
Yeah. So I met with Jeff for the CDL jobs, which I assume there'll be a lot of overlap between the Hoove recruiter and this one. The CDL jobs thing is, I think, potentially huge. Um,
Mm,
there's just I mean, from what I was talking with Jeff, I made a whole bunch of notes. Uh, like trucking industry's $200 billion a year industry. Truckers are there's probably millions and millions of truckers in the U.S. and they're always looking for jobs. So I think there's a huge potential there, not only from a trucker looking for a job, but people looking for truckers to put in a truck. Um, and we took a look at some of the ideas of the competitors that are already out there. One of them has been out there for like 20, 25 years. And it's okay. I mean, it does good business, but it just looks like it's outdated. So I think that's kind of like step number one is just making it look similar, and then really taking it from there and making it look good. Um, Basically, right now the project sits in Jeff's hands, just to input data into the system so that we can have some good test data to actually look at and work with.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, cool, 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 cool. That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds very promising. So thank you for that, Matt. Roger, how's it in Argentina?
Wonderful.
He said.
Yeah, I am.
He's living his best life. All right, Trek Agency. What you got for me, boss?
So I got so I got one. I got this client who's going to be, I think, like a 3 grand recurring monthly thing, which is pretty good, and that'll keep the revenue stable. And I'm going to start to try to look for a new Hoover who I can bring in and throw them some equity in the agency to handle just more extensive business development. So a lot of people have taken a whack at, you know, optimizing or generating some deals through this thing. And but we just didn't have enough stable revenue, and I think we got that now with this one client who's going to be like I said, a solid 3K a month. So everything, all the sort of baseline units will be hit, and they can't really fail. Whereas
Nice.
you've taken a whack at the pipeline, it can get a little overwhelming, and John's taken a lot of people have taken a whack at it. But
Yeah.
now I think there's some stability there that we can start to try to expand it. So I am on the hunt out in the world, Twitter, trying to find somebody who doesn't get too upset and will join us and run a little BD shop so we can get more deals through, and then to actually hire some developers, spin this out to a separate corporation, and try to sell it to Goji Media or whatever.
Nice. Nice. Oh, that's cool. All right, cool. Thank you, Roger. Marie, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
All right. I think yours was the NFT agency ish. What you got?
Yeah, so I reached out to what is his handle? He does the Mint. Is it Mint? What is his name? How do I go back to my messages?
On here?
Clyde Wallace.
Okay, Clyde. Okay.
And I mentioned it to him, and he said, "Well, it's very similar to what he's doing right now, and they're definitely on their way. They have a legit website, but it's not exactly, I think, the same thing I'm thinking. So I'm trying to have a chat with him, and I said, let's just chat and give me an update on your project. And the idea I have can be so many different things. I think right now everybody's hopping on board to the NFT agency world, and it's crazy right now. And everybody's like, oh, we're going to do all these NFTs for these big brands and whatever. But that's not really what I wanted, what my idea would be. My idea would really be kind of connecting the small guys, like the people that are artists, and hooking them up with a developer and kind of making that connection. So whether it's like a blog, or whether it's like a LinkedIn page or group or organization. I'm not exactly sure what it is. So that's where I'm at. Just kind of
Yeah.
like trying to find somebody else to partner with.
Yeah, that'd be good. I think Clyde would be a good point person to kind of learn from, and then at least give you a better idea of how you kind of want to narrow it. No, that's good. Okay, cool. And then Marie, did you sign the agreement to the agreement that Roger sent
No,
out?
I gotta do that. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, he put it somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Can I just say something about the agreement? Can I just say something about the agreement? It's not like a legal document or anything like that. What it's supposed to do is just if you have partners, you're both all your partners are just agreeing like this is what I'm agreeing to do, right? And agreeing what because you're not forming a corporation, there's no real way to distribute like who owns what. So the pre-founder agreement is really just there so that like that's kind of clear and on the table. And I kind of like it being a prerequisite for something being an EPE project, just because it's like people say that they want to do projects all the time,
Yeah.
right? And then they'll like start and like quit, right? It just always happens. It's the nature of the beast, and that's fine. And so the thought is if you're forced to actually write out what you're doing and who's going to do what and what the ownership is, it might increase, people's attachment to their ideas. That's the idea. So like so
Yeah.
on the one hand, it's like, okay, we have an EPE available project, right? And how do we determine what that is? Well, they wrote up an agreement for it, right? And on the second hand, it's like, well, if you're taking the time to do this, it kind of puts a little more commitment onto it. So I think it's a good exercise, especially when people get really hyped up on some concept or an idea, and then the first thing they have to do, they just like, it's like, go get a client or let's build an MVP, right? It's like, well, no, the first thing you got to do is like just sort of write out your idea. And if they can't do that, right? The rest of it's not going to come along either. So this
Do
isn't
Absolutely.
we?
like a legal thing you're agreeing to. This is just kind of an exercise.
So do I download this and then send it back?
Yeah, so what you should do is yeah, copy it and then write in all your stuff, right? And if you have a co-founder, write them into it. Actually, if you don't have a co-founder, don't worry about that. Just write yourself as the EPE, and then if you find a co-founder later on, we'll do a new one with them. Okay, and that new one will replace this one, and then send it to Jeremy because Jeremy's the vault for the EPE document. So this is what he's
Yep.
doing as his civic duty, like organizing what projects are EPE eligible, right? Because the whole idea is, we're all working on on independent projects, but sharing the risk. And if
Yep.
somebody isn't working on one, then they don't get a payout, right? And so somebody's got to keep track of all that. And there's got to be some kind of standard. And so I think having the agreement, somebody writing up the EPE document, and like that's what establishes an EPE eligible company. That is a company somebody can get their fulfill their EPE duty on. And then yeah, Jeremy's just kind of the recorder. So like when an exit happens, say the Matt and Marie and Ricketts's project sell 100 grand for NFT, right? Well, of course, all the people who have EPE in their name are going to say, "Hey, where's my payout?" And we're going to say, "Well, are you working on an EPE project right now?" And they'll be like, "Sure, I am." Be like, "Okay, where's your document?" Right? What have you been doing? You haven't been to the meetings, right? So it's all kind of just like qualification for when that comes, so that we don't get into those big fights later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus also to Roger's point, just it keeps everybody accountable. I guess the biggest thing of all this is like we want to continue to build, but we don't also want people to kind of like fall out the cracks and kind of like basically kind of hide from doing their part. So I think that's really good to just kind of like set that tone, set that intention that we're all gonna like work together on this.
Right,
Hey,
we're all working together by working separately, and keeping that
Hmm.
like right. And if somebody's not doing even lifting, right? If we're all like, hey, let's lift this really heavy thing, and if somebody doesn't lift that, like it's not gonna get lifted. So, and I will say
just
I have been through this for like trying to build something like this out for the last 4 years, and it's gone through a bunch of different iterations of what counts and everything like that. And I think we have like a really good one right now. So this is somewhat time tested. It is not. And it is being field tested. And luckily, everybody's stepping up and like gets it, which is fantastic. So all right, I'm gonna stop.
Now
is
you
there
good.
any
Now you
interest?
Cool.
go for it.
So just real quick, is there any interest in having like a DocuSign account or some kind of like more legitimate way to organize and manage signable contracts and things?
Yeah, that we'll do all that stuff when we actually have corporations in place. For right now, like I just say, get it to Jeremy. Right, when we have like 100 EPEs, yes, we will need something a little more legit, right?
Okay.
Uh, because when exits start happening and there's like it's a question of, are you getting 10 grand or 20 grand depending on how many people come for their claim. Yeah, we're going to need something, and actually we're not even going to do it with DocuSign. We're going to do it with NFTs. So each NFT will kind
Mm,
of be like a DocuSign. So there's a whole bunch of tokens coming down the pipe. That's one of the things Matt and I are working. Matt and I have like 50 civic duties a piece, which is awesome that he's doing so much. And so if anybody wants to help us out with that stuff, you are more than welcome. You are more than welcome to.
yeah, there's a lot.
And you don't
There's
have
a
to.
lot.
You don't have to. But like you just have to. Ideally, you just have to do one thing. But it's a civic duty, right? It's not a. There's nothing tied to it. It's just like
I mean, I think honestly, yeah, if people want to help out, they can help out. I think one of the biggest things you can do to help out from my side is when I put something somewhere and say, "Hey, please go test this." Please go test it. That's all I ask. At a minimum, if I say test it, go out and test it. Because it really everything I do for getting the NFTs together and getting everything on the blockchain, every little bit is building on the previous bit. And so if it's not tested, I can't move on.
Absolutely, absolutely. No, I think that's good to bring that up. Everybody kind of playing their part to help each other, even on the like the smallest thing. I think everybody can add to what everybody's doing. So I'll go next.
And
So pretty
I'll
much
just
I
one
have
more thing. Sorry, Jerry. I'll just put one more thing in there. This is
go for
all
it.
stuff that we're doing as like, and so everybody that's in the core team right now is also like a founding member. And I know you just jumped in, but like that's kind of the thing that I was offering and try to get you to sign for is like you get to join one of these things and immediately get vaulted right to the top. And I know it's overwhelming and everything, and so like please don't get downtrodden or or whatever by everything we're trying to ask you and set boundaries and I'll try to break them down, but just it's all in it's all in good intentions.
Yeah, no, I know it's a lot. Like you're in the trenches, but we're all like one big network of family right now. So we're gonna build this all together. And like any questions you ask, like there's no such thing as a dumb question. So, we're all gonna figure out all together. So yeah, with that being said, pretty much like how Roger and Matt are kind of are pretty much tied in a lot of stuff. Same with me, but I'm kind of tied in like different projects, like with Steven, with Brian, the other guy, the other EP, with Tech Becky. So and then I'm trying to also figure out where Graham is on Supply Fidge, but yeah, Tech Becky, we're gonna release Tech Becky, the actual blog. So it's a tech blog on Brian's side. We're gonna release that next week. We already have some advertisement from MX and two companies. One's a travel company, and then one's like a pre-workout company. So we're gonna try to release that this upcoming week, and then hopefully get some more sponsorships and advertisement. And then also Brian needs to sign that agreement too. And I'm working with Steven on the Hoover thing, the Hoover recruiter, where we're gonna have that conversation afterwards. And then yeah, I'll continue to find Grant from the Shadow Realm and see where he's at.
Wait, so should there be
Yeah, program.
some agreement for the NFT collection that I'm working on?
Well,
Yes.
I'm gonna yes, but I gotta check in with Ricketts. That's like I mentioned before. The folks that are on this call, I'm just gonna check with them separately to see where they are with things. But yeah, to Roger's point, yes, because you're also part of that.
Marie, so this is an interesting one because Ricketts is getting the whole idea is what's fulfilling the EPE duty, right? And so each person needs to be working on a project that fulfills their EPE duty. Jeremy is working on like 3 projects right now. One with Steven, one with Brian, right? But he's got like a direct interest in those based on whatever he agrees with Steven and Brian. Whereas Steven and Brian are doing those projects for their EPE duty. Jeremy's EPE duty is with Supply Finch. Okay, so you can work on multiple projects, but you just have direct interest. In your case, on the Hex Pals thing with Ricketts, you and Matt, right, have direct interest. So let's say $100,000 comes in from the NFTs, right? Well, you guys have a 30-30-30 deal. So you and Matt would both get 33 grand added to your AR from that. And then Ricketts' $33,000 would go into the EPE pool because that's what he's getting. He's doing for his EPE duty. Your project on the NFT agency, right? Any exit from that you would get goes into the EPE pool because that's your duty, and then you also get paid out on any other EPE projects because you're fulfilling that duty. I know I've tried to explain that like 1,000 times in the chats. Ask
I
questions.
know, no, I like it. I like you repeating stuff. Eventually, it sinks into my brain.
Okay, so with the Hexamon's project, if that exits, you get 33K direct plus what you would get what you get from the EPE pool, right? And then but then on the agency, you wouldn't get anything extra. Everything you would get goes into the EPE pool, and you get paid out on that.
Okay.
So yeah, so you have to work on one project, and that should be your primary focus. Is the one that fulfills your EPE duty, and any extra time that you have, you would put into other projects where you have direct interest. and I'll just keep explaining this over and over.
No, it's helpful. It's helpful,
I
Roger.
know people are
It's
going to keep
helpful.
having
It's
questions.
helpful.
It's helpful. It's confusing to an extent, but it also kind of like you're delaying your payment, right? Is essentially what you're doing by leading a project, but you're sharing in the profits of all other projects, even if you're not involved. So there is still a payout. It may not be a direct payout, but there's still you're still getting something from it.
You just get paid out from the pool,
Right.
whereas you just get paid out from the EPE pool. So in a sense, in a perfect world, everybody would just be working on one project, and we would pool everything from all of those. But that is like, it's weird to ask people to do that, and it like limits a lot of things. So allowing people to work on other projects, I just think creates a lot more camaraderie and everything. But we just have to make sure that everybody's fulfilling their EPE duties. And so Jeremy's the sheriff on that. So like if you're in 3 projects, but you're spending way more time on the ones you get a direct interest in rather than your EPE project, and actually kind of Jeremy falls into this just because Graham's kind of MIA right now.
Yeah.
So right, so he's kind of focused more on projects that he has a direct interest in. So there's a sense in which the policemen of the EPEs would say like, "Hey, look, we need to get you on another EPE project." There's, at some point, right? Who knows exactly what that's going to look like? But like that's kind of up to Jeremy to develop. Like, what does policing the EPEs look like? And Jeremy and anybody else that wants to help him on that, as for like a civic duty, whatever. It's so there is a sense in which a lot of the norms that we're going by here are up in the air, and that's on purpose. That's on purpose. I'm trying. The whole idea with this is we want to have as few rules as possible, and the rules are governed by the way the tokens are distributed, and then allow people to develop whatever kind of cultures and systems they want around that. Um, so when I say things like we're all equal, do whatever you want, I literally mean that. Like you can create whatever systems and structures you want around this. The only thing you can't change are the tokenomics. But everything else is up for grabs. Like if you want to change stuff on the Discord, right, you just have to figure out how to get access to it if you don't have it already, and you can change whatever you want. So it's anarchic, and it's free, and not a lot of people like that. I've had some people be like, there needs to be more rules, and I'm like, well, you can get the fuck out of here. And so anyways.
ETFO.
Nice. No, thank you for that, Roger. Um, Last person, our new member. Do you have any questions, any updates on any ideas that you're trying to do for your project? Yeah, honestly, Bill. By the way, shout out to Matt. Matt is the man with all this. So big shout out to you, guy.
Thank you.
A quick project question. Is there like a hard or soft deadline for when we have to have these done, or like milestones, or what do you guys know about that?
No.
Yeah, no, I think the point of these meetings is definitely to like obviously keep accountability for where everybody's going. But again, to Roger's point, we are in control of our progress and our milestones and what we do, like however we want to go about it. The deadlines, the milestone deadlines can be between like the people involved in the project, like just to kind of keep accountability. But I don't know if you want to add any more to that, Roger.
Yeah, well, I'll just say we're all policing each other, right? Jeremy's kind of like the lead sheriff, but when it comes to like who's fulfilling their duty or not, it's really kind of up to all of us. Um, and there isn't really a process in place to stop that, except something that we would all sort of develop on our own. So um, for right now, I would say, um, well, I'll step back 1 second. There's 2 ways you can fulfill your EPE. You can be assigned to a project that we own equity in, Okay. And really, if we own equity in it, we're pretty much good. So like even in Graham's case, like we have equity in his company. If he tries to do anything screwy, we can sue him and we'll win, right? Because we're shareholders in his company. So even if he's like totally gapping and like not paying attention or anything like that, we can even like we have things that we can do um, to to uh, to intervene there beyond just Jeremy trying to get in touch with him. But like in the situation where somebody's like not assigned to something, right now we're being kind of like, hey, look, anything you want to do, just write it up and let's do it. But in the future, like Jeremy, who's sort of taken up the mantle, this might be like, this doesn't really count or work or something, right? And then maybe other people will put some pressure on Jeremy to allow him to do it, but that's kind of the burden he's taking on. The other way to do it is you can spend 10 grand in AR on a portfolio project. That would fulfill the duty too. So if you're not assigned to an EPE project, and with Jeremy being the sheriff on that, um, uh, you can just send 10K AR to somebody who's you've got to go ahead and get 10K AR. If an exit happened and you're not assigned to an EPE project and you haven't spent 10K AR on a project, then you're not getting a payout. Again, all this is kind of loosey goosey right now, and this one will probably be one of the last pieces of the puzzle of the blockchain puzzle that we end up actually doing, even after AR and everything like that, just because it is going to take some time for us to develop the norms and the rules around it, and we're going to see how it goes. So I'd say right now, just you know, uh, we trust everybody. Just police each other. There's a couple EPEs who you could probably go after and slap them right now, and I'm wondering
Amen.
what that will actually look like. I wonder what that would look like actually, and I'm kind of excited to see how that plays out. But
Can we
right now,
make
it's
can we
really
make slapping NFTs?
yeah, we can do it in 1,000 different ways. Like I said, I'm really excited to see how people slap each other, and see what happens to get somebody rolling. There's a lot of norms are going to sort of be developed naturally as we go through this, and it's going to be fun to watch it. But to your point right now, just kind of best effort, whatever. It's not the end of the world. The only thing that might have an exit soon, anyways, is Matt's NFT project. So I mean, Ricketts and Matt and Murphy's NFT project, if they can get it rolling, just only because it's going to launch soon and it's just an NFT sale, it might produce $100, it might produce, $100,000, who knows, right? But that would be probably the first example that we're going to have of like, okay, who's going to get paid out on this, right? And I guarantee some people who've been really quiet are going to come out of the woodwork and be like, hey, I get paid. And everybody's going to be like, what? And then for the next one, somebody might say like, I'm going to put some rules in place here, right? And then there might be a big war and a big fight, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how all it plays out. But I have a feeling that everybody kind of gets the gist of it, and so a consensus will naturally form. I'm going to stop blathering.
Yeah,
Nah,
so
you good.
now that you're done, I'll blather. No, I personally think, and I think I said this to you, Roger, if not in one of the discussions in the previous weeks. Um, some of these projects are going to be 2 years, 5 years, or even longer until they're like really fruitful, and then until we can like spin them off into their own thing. Some of them might be just a couple months. And it really just depends on what the project is, what's involved, and if we can get the resources for the people to do what needs to be done on the project, right? So I think there's a lot there. I think in terms of like slapping people, yeah, sure. I mean, you want to make an NFT, like, oh, I gift you this NFT, you've been slapped, 3 slaps, and you're out. It, certainly I can figure something out in between everything else I'm doing, I'm sure. But
Let's let Jeremy. I'd let Jeremy kind of work on that one. Like Jeremy, figure it out.
That's fine. I kind of like the 3 slap NFT and you're out. Like, right? Like you're out of your project,
Yeah,
whatever
legit.
project that is. Uh, and leave it up to the other people within the project who are helping, or up to you, even Jeremy, as like the leader and coordinator of this whole thing, right? Like if people come to you and say, "Hey, look, this person's not doing their duties," right? You can go slap them, or I can go slap them.
Yeah, I have no problem, and as you can tell, I'm a bit of a good motivator. So yeah, I can get at least things rolling for.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean that's just my 2 cents on that whole thing, right? EPEs are uh EPE EPEing a project, blah, blah, blah. It may be a couple months and it may be a couple years, and you'll exit when it's ready or when it fails, which is fine too.
Yeah, absolutely. As kind of we approach, and I appreciate that, Matt. I kind of reapproach kind of like the end of this meeting. Does anybody have any other questions, concerns, or anything they want to basically say? It's recorded, so don't worry about it. You can always go back to it.
Yes, I have
But
a
the floor is
question.
open. Go for it.
This is probably a stupid question. I should know this, but
You
so
good?
so a person has an EP project, and then they have what do you call the founders, like the other people working on it? So do they get paid like AR, or is that just part of their working on the project, basically?
So yeah, so if you're okay, so we'll take a project. Let's just take let's use the Hexamon's project again as an example. So you, Matt, and Ricketts are all founders on it. Okay, right? If you guys were just running this as an independent project, you'd each own a third, right? And you'd form an LLC. You'd have third units for each of you. Revenue would come in, and you split that revenue, right? According to your operating agreement, we should say split the revenue. Right. So in this case, you're running it as part of a Hoove project. So each of you have agreed to take 33%. Ricketts is donating his 33% in order to fulfill his EPE duty. Okay. Now, when
Right.
and you and Matt have a 33 direct percent. So now let's say that you build the NFT collection and we sell it and we get $100,000. Okay, well that $100,000 has to go somewhere. It has to be recognized somewhere, and that's always by some form of a corporation. Okay. Now, if it was just you out there on your own, you would file it on your taxes as an S corp, or as a Schedule C on your taxes, right? And you pay taxes on it like that. So instead, what's happening in this case is it's getting paid. The cash is going to the Hoove Group, which the LLC that manages the Hoove Group is called IdeaTrek. So the cash is going to IdeaTrek. $100,000 goes into IdeaTrek. And then 33.333 of that, right, goes to you, Marie, as AR. Okay, so anytime new cash comes into anything Hoove, new AR is created. Like when I do a $3,000 website project through the agency, new AR is created, right? Cash comes in, new AR is created. And then that AR is given to whoever does the work, right? In this case, it would be me building the website, so I get 3,000 AR. In this case, when $100,000 comes in from the NFT, you then get 33,000 AR. Matt gets 33,000 AR, and then the 33,000 AR for Ricketts gets put into the EPE pool and distributed equally to all the EPEs. Okay, Ricketts, you,
Okay.
Matt, me, everybody else, right? So you all get AR now. Because all of us are core team members, our ceiling is 45K AR. So we can only withdraw cash, straight cash money, right? That's over 45,000 AR. So in this case, if you're at 5,000 AR right now and you got 33,000 off of the exit, you'd be at 38,000 AR. So you wouldn't be able to withdraw any cash out of that because you're at 38. But what you would have is a whole bunch of AR now that you can, spend on other projects or just bank it and hold it, so that on the next one that happens, maybe that one's a 30K or 100K AR per person, and you'll be at 138K AR, and then you can take out anything that's over 45K that way.
So,
So in the meantime,
question
it's in your interest. Oh, sorry.
So I think I understand that, but if I'm so if you're a founder in the EPE project, you get the revenue off the sale or of the company. But if somebody else
You
has a
get
project, you're not a founder, they have to pay you AR to do like if they want me to design stuff or
Oh,
whatever.
yes, 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 yes. Okay. Right, you're a founder on that, so you have an interest in the project. That is when it exits, you're going to get a big payday, right? If you're not a founder on the project, right? Um, say Jeremy and Brian want you to design something for one of their magazines or something, right? They could either say, "Hey, we want to give you equity on this," and then they'll write a new pre-incorporation founders agreement and add you to the founder and assign you a percentage on exit. Or they could just say, you know, uh, Brian and I, or Jeremy could say, Brian and I are going to both toss in 2,500 AR and give it to you for designing this thing, right? And you might want to
Okay.
do that because that'll help you get up to that 45K mark, so that when you do have a big exit, you can take out all the cash. Um, but that's kind of up to you. Now, I will say, for new Hoovers that come, like everybody that's in the founders group right now, we all started with 5K AR, but we were all grandfathered into being full blown core team members. Normally, that would require somebody to get to 15K AR, then get to 30K AR, then get to 45K AR. So they'll usually be sort of built in already around the 45K AR mark once they get to the level that we are. Um, but because we're all starting, we're all new, and we're trying to promote people to be activity. We're saying, hey, come be a full blown founder without having to go through that process. The only drawback is you're not just granted 45,000 AR. Because we can't just create AR out of thin air. There has to be a backing to it. Otherwise, we don't have a kind of stable token, which is the whole way that this thing works. If we have just a purely speculative token that everything gets out of whack, there would be no reason for anybody to do any work. Really, there'd be no incentive. You would just try to pump bags. Um, so yeah. So we
Okay.
all kind
Got
of
it.
have some legwork to do to get ourselves up to that 45K mark so that we can start cashing out. And there's a lot of options and opportunities to do that. And if you need strategies and help with doing that stuff, and that's why Matt's asking everybody for 5K AR on the AR request thing, right? Because he's just trying to collect as much as he can in the wild, wild west that it is right now.
Hey, why not?
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
So normally, right, if somebody was just saying, "Give me your AR for nothing," when we all went to go vote on it, they'd probably get a no vote, like, "Oh, you're trying to screw people over." But right now, it's like, no, hell yeah, say yes to everything. Because if somebody's not using their AR, that's on them, and screw them.
Yeah, so Marie, the general rule, the easiest way, I think that for me to explain it and to rehash what Roger said, anything you're not already committed to, if anyone asks you to do anything on any other project, you need to charge them for it. You need to get AR for whatever else you're doing, right? Um, so anything that you're not an EPE on or any projects that you're not already on, you need to get paid for whatever you do for it.
You need to
Okay.
have a way to get paid, and it's either on exit or it's an AR upfront. And it's on the team to figure out if they want to give you points in the project, in which case they'll sign that into the agreement, or they'll make a deal. Now you don't have to do it anyway. You're not obligated to do any. You could charge them straight cash. You could do this whatever way you want. Right now, I think everybody has an incentive to collect AR, so they'll probably want to do as many AR projects as possible, so that on an exit they'll be able to take some cash out. But you can do this however you want. You are not obligated to any decision other than what you are comfortable with.
Okay. Thank you.